Well, we've just finished this year's Travel Matters conference in central London, and the theme this year was confidence in a changing world. One of the things we looked at was this year's very noticeable shift in travel patterns from the Eastern Mediterranean to the Western Mediterranean, and that's partly to do with concerns about security, but it has a very real impact on the industry and of course on the host countries. So although that is part of the context, it was also very important that we don't take our eye off some of the very big issues that are still ahead of us in the UK. Airport capacity expansion has been delayed really while we've all been focused on the referendum. It's very important though that the government makes a decision on that as soon as possible. One of the keynote speakers, Willie Walsh from IAG, parent company of British Airways, was very, very strong in asserting that the costs of the Heathrow expansion as he sees them are prohibitively high and that those costs will be passed on to the airlines and through to the customers. He also made the point about air passenger duty, which continues to be a thorn in the side of the travel industry, and the need really to use the devolution of air passenger duty to Scotland and Wales to reduce and argue for the abolition of that tax. After the break, we had an interesting presentation from one of our headline sponsors, Deloitte, where Graham Pickett ran through all the changes that were impacting the travel industry, large sort of changes in the macroeconomic climate and in technology and in customer behaviour. We had a couple of panel sessions that looked at how the travel industry is responding to this, and in particularly the cruise sector, which is seeing a development in solo travel and multi-generational travel. We wrapped up the morning with a couple of very interesting sessions, one on the US election and on the relative prospects of the Republican and the Democrat candidates, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And finally, we had a presentation from Sir Malcolm Rifkind, which, in spite of all of the upheavals in the Middle East and in Europe, was still very optimistic about the fact that Europe is still the strongest democratic part of the world with very strong values, and that will stand us in good stead as we go into the future.
Yeah, I found it very interesting. It was a really great start with Willie Walsh talking about the issues with Heathrow, and it was really great to hear him firsthand as to what he thought about it. It's great to have this event here kind of mid-year as a great gauge for us to meet the industry and hear what everyone's talking about and hear what everybody's thinking.
I think ABTA is absolutely key in bringing everyone together to discuss these important topics.
I thought it was a really good morning, really informative speakers.
I can really see ABTA's role in terms of having a voice and steering that in the right direction. And as a relatively new partner to ABTA, that's the value that I take from sessions like this.
I always enjoy the Travel Matters event because it's always a very lively discussion, very relevant to what's happening in our industry at the moment. Definitely it is the event of the year for me.